Hello and welcome to the SOS show with James Lott Jr. It is Friday, January 27th, 2023, which I can't believe I'm saying that. It's almost February. I cannot believe it. It's going by really fast. Welcome to the show here on JLJ Media. I am the super organizer, James Lott Jr. This is my second show of the year, my first with a guest, as we enter year 8, my longest running show ever done. And I just want to give a little shout out to adrenalineradio.com. That's where I started 8 years ago. I actually found, you guys, the first flyer I ever made. I found the other day from 8 years ago when I was on the radio, when it was called the Super Organizer Universe Radio Show. That's what it was called back then. And I took these flyers and I walked the streets, I literally did, and passed them out for people to listen to my show. So I just want to give a shout. I found it the other day. I thought, how ironic I found that. That was 8 years ago. So I'm a certified life coach and everything. Anyway, but my guest is like me. She has an empire, folks, and you're going to get to know her. And we're going to talk about each of her empires. Let me give you the list of things of what she does. She is a life organizing. I love these things. I love these kind of things. I love this stuff. Okay, she's a life organizing expert, a corporate trainer, a speaker, an author, a corporate trainer, a podcaster, a host, an author. She was also dubbed the clutter-free queen by Rachal Ray. About that. I found her from her Instagram, all her Instagram stuff and her posts, which I like, in her videos and things. She has a YouTube channel. It is janetmtaylor.com. It is Janet the Organizer, Janet M. Taylor. How are you, Miss Janet?
I am doing great, James. How are you today?
I am fine. I just finished watching your interview with my girl, Geraldine Thomas, also
I
friend of
know
the show.
she is like the best. Oh my goodness.
Yes, she really is, and she is super sweet, super
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable, everything. I love. We have a love affair for years. So me and Geraldine, we love each other. I saw it. It was a good show. It's a good show. So folks, we're gonna talk about that too, where to find that, and all that. But first, I always do thanks and gratitude. I've been doing it for the last 8 years. Every single show that I do, I start with thanks and gratitude. This was really interesting, folks out there, because since you saw me last, I had two major things happen in my life. One, you see my shirts, promoted to a Papa again, Papa Jamie, for the fifth time. The fifth time. It's crazy. I'm too young for this. My daughter, Monica Alicia, gave birth to my beautiful grandson, Preston Albert. And he is beautiful. It was a difficult pregnancy with some possible complications, but he came out perfect. There's not a thing wrong, all 10 toes and 10 fingers and beautiful, lots of hair. We love that. But he's beautiful. I'm in love with him already. But he came to us a couple weeks ago. So congratulations to my family, to my daughter, her husband Brian, and big brother Trenton, who's just like fascinated by him. Then at the same time, a major loss in my life. My mother's husband, my stepfather, Moses McCullough, passed away last Friday. He was 86 years old, and he had a little bit of dementia and some other things that happened. And we caregived for him the last 3 weeks. Me and my siblings, shout out to my siblings, thanks and gratitude to them. We came together for my mom, and we all 24/7 was taking care of them. But he peacefully went to be with our Father in heaven. I like to think with my brother Max, with my dog Scrabble, with my grandma. I feel like they're all there together, just having a good old time. My mother was by his side. So it was wonderful when he said she passed peacefully and quickly. So I want to give gratitude to his way. He took care of my mom. He was there for her. He loved her very much. And so Moses, don't worry, we're going to take care of my mom for you until you guys are joined again in heaven. So I want to give those are my major gratitudes and shout outs. And thanks everybody for your support over the last 2 weeks. Even John, you said something to me also. I saw online, you said something to me too. Thank you for your support. It's been a roller coaster ride of emotions, having a new baby, but also losing somebody, a patriarch. It's just like it's the circle of life. As I just keep saying that, circle of life, and that part is beautiful. I think that part's beautiful. That life and death exists. That's how we come in here. That's how we leave. I believe in God, so it's all divine intervention. So we're good. So that's what I'm going to say, that Janet. So thank you. Let me do that. So now again, speaking of people that like to support Black business, like to support my East Coaster. She's in Philly, so I like to support my East Coasters. I like to do that. Even I lived in Pittsburgh, which is the west part of Pennsylvania, but my family's from New York, so
Okay.
I do that. I have family in Bethlehem, uncles in Bethlehem.
Okay. I've
I
been
have
to
family in
Bethlehem.
Media. I have
Oh
family in
yeah, that's
Media.
not that far from me.
So I know that area. First of all, I want to ask you. I ask this to everybody because we're coming. I'd say coming out of, because we're still in it, but we're coming through this whole pandemic time.
Mhm.
So how have you been?
I have been really good. I have a strong support system. One of the things some friends and I did, and we still continue to do, is we meet every Thursday evening via
Oh, wow.
Zoom. Yes, we still do that. And I truly appreciate it when it happened because in the midst of the pandemic, someone I was dating for over 5 years passed away suddenly.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was really nice just to kind of have that support because, in the beginning of all of this, we couldn't even like leave our house unless we were
Right.
just getting a loaf of bread.
Right.
So it was really nice to have that. But yeah, it was just like the support. you know, I think it's important that when we do, specifically as business people, when we meet people, like whether it's a banker, an attorney, sometimes we just go that extra step and really connect with them because in the midst of all that, and I know you probably felt the James, like in the beginning, all of a sudden your calendar went blank and it was like, wait a minute, my calendar went blank. He passed away. I'm crying. And it was really nice. I just picked up the phone and called the woman who was a banker, and I said, look, this is what's going on, and she truly helped me gain some finances. So yeah, I had that support. But of course, like everybody else, I had to, this year I had to get rid of a few pieces of clothing because I
Yes.
just I
Yes.
enjoy food, James. It may not look
I'm
like
on
it.
Posh. I'm on Poshmark, girl. I'm selling my stuff. So don't worry. I understand. I'm selling stuff on there.
I
That's
was
right.
like, okay, yeah. So I had to like, all right, it's time, Janet, And even if I do get back and I know all the hard work I would have to do to get back into some of those pieces, I'm like, I'm not there anymore. I'm not there,
Girl, I'm
Janet.
the same way. I'm the same way. No, yeah, it's funny because here in LA too, everything shut down, and I'm in media and organizing, and they both shut down. Like everything, there was those weird things where everything shut down.
Hmm.
We had to pivot and change, and I think what this whole situation has made all of us stronger. I think all of us entrepreneurs. It really showed. I think it really showed who had the meat and bones to be an entrepreneur because we all had, no matter what industry you're in, we all had to figure it out, didn't we?
Hmm. We definitely did. And like you said, we had to pivot. I mean, who knew I'd be doing like webinars more than I would be
There you
going
go.
in person? But it was like, okay, time to make a pivot. And even just kind of pivoting sometimes with some of my clients, it's like, look, I know you need me. We got to do some virtual, at least in the beginning. Because one of my clients, she was at the time still living with a father who was 95. There
Yeah,
was no way I could go. It was like, no, that.
no. Well, all my clients were over 50. So that was a weird thing for me. So it's like we really didn't do anything for a while. And also I was caretaking my parents, so it's like, and they're over 70. It was like I had to be,
Hmm.
so you're right. It was like we had to really be careful. And that whole dance of, then it was like, then the vaccines came out, when you're getting them, when you're getting yours, and I could come back to you maybe a couple days a week here. Because you're right. What I found, Janet, which is funny, a lot of folks, they were from home now, they were at home, saw their mess.
Oh, yeah.
That was the big thing, but they couldn't, but at first we couldn't do anything about it because
Mm-mm.
of the pandemic.
Yeah. Hmm. 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 The walls were closing in on a lot of people.
They were. I thought that was a very interesting piece of this. And I thought, wow, we are kind of essential workers, so to speak, in terms of people's mental health, physical
Mm-hmm.
health.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying you got to work from home, so you got to find a workspace at home that you never thought you would have to do. School space at home for the kids. I mean, some houses are they're like, we don't have a kitchen table or we don't have a dining
Mm-hmm.
room. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, and just like you said, like navigating all of that, not only the physical space, but sometimes just the time, because then you had everybody under the same roof
yes,
for 24
oh,
hours,
yes,
and people were just trying, okay, I got the kids, the dog, I got grandma over there because I brought
yes,
grandma here. So how do I navigate all of this stuff and everything? And I had to tell some people, I said, it's important for you to reclaim your commute time. Okay, so you're not actually going out, but you need at least a little bit of time because I know when I was doing a 9 to 5, I would just kind of take that time and just like breathe after a hard day dealing with people. And then I was like, okay, I can go in my house and, greet my mom, do this, do that. But people lost it. And one couple said, you know what, we give each other 30 minutes because we both work from home and we go our separate ways, give each other 30 minutes and then come back. So yeah, it was a lot of navigating and pivoting all around.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the person you were seeing that passed away. We had a bunch of that too happen, of course, during that time period.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of I had a couple of clients pass away actually from COVID, which was interesting also during that time period. And things started opening back up a little bit, of course, and protocols were put in place. We ought to put our own different protocols in there and gauge how if we would go back in. But this is funny. I know you have an online presence like I do. I found because I pivoted to online mostly that right now I only have a few actual in-house clients. I'm mostly online stuff now. Are you finding that you say are similar or same?
Yeah, I have like just about two clients that I see in person. They're all once a month. I see two of them, and then the rest, like you said, is online. I'm doing so many different webinars
Yeah.
and speaking engagements online.
Mhm.
So I love it. And somebody asked me what I'm grateful for, and I said I'm grateful for the fact that I can work from home
Yeah.
because I've learned how to really enjoy my space, but enjoy the fact that, yes, sometimes I do not have to leave because I enjoy my slippers, James. Okay. Can I just say that? I enjoy my
Yes, you
slippers.
can. Yes, you can. Mhm. Yeah, that's so funny. I love it. Yeah, no, it's funny. So we had to kind of pivot and change the times because we were most of us were in-house
Mm-hmm.
providers. So we
Mm-hmm.
did. We were in the house, and now when it came to COVID, and out here in LA, it's a COVID on this side, monkeypox on that side, the flu over here. It's like Tetris trying to duck and dodge, and
I know. I know. And like you said, you have to, when you do decide to go out, you got to create your own protocol because I did a consultation and I still wear my mask.
I
But
do,
the
I do,
but
I
the
do.
person, and it was a referral because it was a relative of a client, and they were like, "Well, why do you have your mask on?" I said, "To protect you, because I basically traveled here to come to you in your house, in your space. So that's why I'm continuing to wear this mask."
Yeah,
And the clients that I do see, they're fine with me
yeah,
just
yeah.
keeping my mask on. And I let people know if you feel comfortable without your mask, that's okay. But I am going to continue to wear mine.
Okay, so when did you get into organizing?
Ooh, back in way back, James, in 1994, I was working for a company and they decided that, well, no, we lost the contract. So therefore, I was laid off. And then I saw an article about a woman going in and talking to people about getting organized. And everybody had always said that that was one of my, you know, key benefits to friendship with Janice. Like, yes, you can always find stuff on her desk. So and then I connected with the local organizers as well as the national organizers. So yeah, 1994.
That is okay. That's amazing. I've been doing it. I just celebrated last month. 13 years. I've been doing this since 2009.
Wonderful.
So I'm a double digit person. I'm an old timer. So it's been so you're an old timer
That's
now.
right. That's
But
right.
you're talking okay. Because back then, so folks at home, if you don't know this, professional organizing as a industry is still relatively new compared to most industries.
Hmm.
Many
Hmm.
people say it started in the mid 80s. So you're talking maybe 10 years after that, you saw an article.
Hmm.
I didn't know about organizing until like the 2000s. I didn't even know about it. And then I heard about it kind of because of hoarders and clean
Yep.
sweep and clean
Hmm.
house and all those kind of things.
Hmm.
Like, but
Hmm.
I didn't know. I mean, but you 1994, wow. Okay. So we all came from somewhere else, obviously. What field were you working in at the time?
I was in transportation. I would coordinate transportation for the senior citizens.
Oh,
Like if they
wow.
wanted to go shopping, if they wanted to go to
Yeah.
church, if they wanted to visit a friend, etc.
Oh,
That's what I
wow.
was
Okay.
doing.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you're still in the service industry, so to speak. You're still in
Yep.
service.
Hmm. Still service industry. Yes. Hmm. I loved it. I had some crazy stuff went on when I was doing that, but I truly loved it.
I'm sure. We'll protect the innocent. I'm gonna say we'll protect the
Yeah.
innocent back then.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. No. Okay. So you guys. So did okay. So you read about you saw this article and
Hmm.
like for me, I saw a book. It's Julie Morgenstern, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
Inside Out, Organizing Inside Out. I saw the book. I
Hmm.
love it. And I was like, this is a business. This is a thing. And she tells you it's part business book, part organizing book. It tells you
Hmm.
both. And I
Hmm.
was like, I didn't even know. I didn't know what this was. And then I was intrigued. So for you in 1994, you guys lost the contract, you saw this thing. Did you always have the entrepreneurial spirit, or was it did it hit you then? Like kind of like me, just hit me then. Like, oh, you
It
did.
hit me then. It hit me then. And the fact that I was about to move out of my mother's home for the first time. So I'm glad everything kind of happened when it did, because of course I was laid off, so that kind of delayed that. Then, I saw the article and I shared with her what I wanted to do, and she was fine with it. I mean, she was so fine that she actually cleaned out, because she had 3 bedrooms. She cleaned out 1 bedroom so I could have a space for my
Oh, wow.
office.
Okay.
So yeah, mother was like my supporter. She was the editor of my then print newsletter.
Yes, there you go.
She was even my bouncer, because one time
Hey,
my neighbor wanted to speak to me. My mother answered the phone and she's like, "Well, the door, do you have an appointment with Janet?" "Well, she's busy right now. You'll have to come back later." I was like, I love that woman.
go on, girl. That's right. Hey, it's a business. She's like,
It
it's
is.
a business.
Yeah, she said, "Look," she says, "Oh, you have an appointment?" She's like, "Well, I'll let her know you stop by."
Make an appointment. Neighbor. Yeah, I love that. No, it's true. Okay, so because it really wasn't. Did you join NAPO at the time? Did you join them, or did you
I
did?
joined NAPO. I was actively involved with the local chapter. So, and that's, really connecting with them really kind of helped me begin to really get my business started. I mean, I was back there, like I saw your flyer. I was back there, passing out flyers and
You're
things
back
like
then.
that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I still have, and I still have some of those original flyers too. But
Yes.
yeah, that's the way you did it back then. But now you got social media, you got
Yeah.
websites, you got so
Yeah.
many other things.
Yeah, because I'm saying even when I started, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram, there
Oh
was
God.
Facebook, there was Facebook, and then
No, it
Tumblr.
wasn't. Yeah, it
That's
was.
it.
It was none of that
Yeah,
stuff.
when you started, you need to have amazing, you need to have MySpace. You had nothing back then.
Nothing. I think we did. I think I started with like a little website. I've had so many websites since then, but a little
You
website,
too, girl.
maybe an email, maybe an email. I think I know I had an email, which was
Probably.
AOL.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes. Yeah, folks, a little. You had to really. I mean, like I said, I went on the streets, literally picked a neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
passed out in the
Mm-hmm.
old school way. And back then, you had to also get maybe ad space and newspapers or
Mm-hmm.
local magazines, local
Mm-hmm.
newspapers. Like it cost you money to like.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
I did when I came out. It was Vistaprint. I don't know what it was back then when you did it.
Yes, it was Vistaprint. There were
Yeah.
machines that did business cards.
Yes.
And then one of the things that I did to really market myself is like the community organizations would have workshops.
Yes.
So I started like just like, hey, I'll do a workshop, because I knew they would pass out, because that's when they would give out all the catalogs. It was physical catalogs. They
Yes.
would put in the little boxes on the little corners that
Yes.
people could go through, register for a class. And
Yes.
that was how I really started kind of getting my name out there.
Yeah, I did a garden club once. I said
Mm-hmm.
I'll show up here, talk for 45 minutes about organizing garden tools. I mean, whatever. It's like it's. I'm like you.
That's right.
It worked churches. I did churches when we started. And I mean, trust
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, you do. I mean, back then you did anything to just get yourself in front of people and keep your name out there.
me. Yeah, exactly. As they call in the coaching world, a high touch communication. You want to be in front of people, and so they can see you, and you
Mm-hmm.
can actually talk to them, not just this whole social media stuff where they can kind of ignore
Mm-hmm.
your message and go about their business. They're
Mm-hmm.
right in front of
Mm-hmm.
you. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of miss those days a little bit. I do. It's a little easier to market. It's free now to market a lot of stuff, thank God. But I do miss. And this is my oldness talking. I do miss some of that stuff back then, the way we used to do it, because it was more personable, and
Oh yeah.
you had to earn
Oh
it.
yeah.
You had to earn it.
Oh yeah. And that is true. Yeah. I mean, I miss, I haven't done, I mean, I will do some, in the new year, but like over these past few years, I wasn't in front of people talking. And some, like you said, you missed that because it's that interaction you get with
It
them. And
is.
so I
It is.
understand.
It is. Wow. Now, I want to also ask you, because we are, folks who are listening, because my show is popular also on podcasts. You can name it a podcast. But if you don't know this, we're Black. We can't see us. We're Black. We're Black folks. I just want to ask, because when I started, because I'm one of the few men in the business. First of all, that's number one.
That's true.
I'm a
That's
big
true.
Black man in the business. 6 feet, 300 pounds, or a big Black man. So, but I talked to the Black folks. I just wonder for you, way back then, was there any trepidation? Because you have a name like mine, it could sound like anything. Janet M. Taylor, James Lott Jr. They don't. There's no ethnic tone to the name of any sort. Was there any thoughts about putting your face on cards, or I don't know any kind of being of color? I just wonder if there's anything back there for you or no.
It wasn't. And, back then, I don't really think I was thinking about putting my face on cards like I do now,
Okay.
because I think back then it was all about the business name and what I did. But I never really felt like, oh, because I'm a Black woman that I
Good.
should not. So no, I never felt that.
Good.
But
And
but I was the few. It was like one of the few.
I know.
I did know that. So it's nice to see how, at least, I see a multicultural,
Yes.
organizing, more diversity, men, women, all of that. So it's really nice to see all of
Well, I
that.
want to. This is a good point. We didn't mention my buddies over at NAPRO, the folks, the National Association of Black Professional Organizers. We love them. Many of them have been on my shows. I love
Hmm.
them very much. But to see that grow out of this, it's a newer organization of the last couple of years. But it's a great, like I said, when I first started, I never saw any other Black people. They're just, I mean, I didn't run into them, and I still have not met another Black man. So I'm still
Okay.
waiting for that. I have not. I've scoured the country. I've had 8,000 people on my show, and I've had men, but I've not had a Black man. So I'm sure it has to be one out. If you're out there, I'll keep saying, please contact me. What's on my show? Um, so anyway, so I won my show. But anyway, so it's very interesting that when we come out as Black business owners, we're also coming out as just business owners. You're coming out
Hmm.
as a female business owner. I'm coming out as
Hmm.
a, also I was young, so I was, well, not was that young, but I was, whatever. I was younger than this. There's a lot of things that come out when you come to business. Um, what was your approach? Were you like, okay, did you approach it very business like, or did you approach it like, I'm gonna go out and try this? I mean, how did you approach it?
I think it was more like business like, because I started, it's interesting. And I know I'm aging myself. I think the first major purchase I did was a fax machine. Um,
Woo! Facts. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. That's right.
um, and I made sure that I got a actual dedicated business line
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
So and actually I had a business and a fax number.
I
But
love it.
now,
I love it. Yes.
so I got the business license. I did all of that, making sure that every I was dotted, T was crossed. So I was thinking about this as a business. I was thinking about it longevity, but I didn't realize how long it would go. And I didn't think it would actually still continue, even, now that I'm speaking here with you today. So,
Almost 30 years.
no, I
I went there and
know.
say quietly, almost 30 years.
Yeah, almost 30. Yeah, 29.
I mean,
So 29.
you look 29, 30. So you obviously
What
you're a
you know what?
girl.
I was James. I will take that.
Okay, you were a year old when you started, obviously. So you know how we all do. You
I
know how we
know.
do this.
I know.
Yes.
I
But
know.
that's amazing though. In all seriousness, that's amazing to have anything last that long.
Mhm. 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 I mean, and it was, and like again, it was like different connections that I made. I mean, I remember I was at a meeting and it was about government contracting, and a woman came in, and the person mentioned her name. Is like, hey, just, I'm glad you can make it sit in the back. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, there can't be too many people with that name. And so I just turned around and I said, hey, I'm Janet Taylor. She's like, Janet. And we just connected. And she was able to acquire so many different contracts. And because I'm organized, she just brought me along with her.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that was real. That was wonderful. I mean, I think one government contract was 5 years, James. Ooh,
Wow.
yeah,
I'm saying,
almost five.
that is very true. I
Mm-hmm,
am the family organizer for several stars,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
where it's when they need something, they call me.
Yep,
It's
yeah,
not, it's not every week. It's not every week. It's not even every
I
month.
understand.
But for years, it's like, oh, we need James for this, and
I
they always
understand.
call me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like relationship building, because I have a celebrity client, and the other night I'm on Instagram and I see this thing pop up. Because sometimes I check and see who's following me. Do I have to follow them back?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I saw, and I was like, hmm, did she get hacked or something? So, and it was. I mean, I would say it was like after 8 o'clock, but I'm like, you
Yeah,
know what? I'm just gonna text her anyway. So I
yeah.
text her, and I text a screenshot. I said, "Is this you? Because do I have to follow you?" And she's like, "No, report it."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, so but
Yeah.
yeah, she's like one of those clients. She'll call me, "Hey, Janet, I need this, I need that." Like, hey, you know what? Because I tell people I am trying to retire, but then there are certain
Me too.
clients like they call. I'm like, okay,
Well, it's relationships, and the thing is, people out there, people always say, "James, you know, you love this." I do love this business a lot.
oh yeah,
But I'm getting older, and I'm like, I don't
mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm,
But there are folks I really enjoy working with.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That they're fun, and that's the
Oh yeah,
beautiful thing about this. I told myself when I became an entrepreneur, I will no longer take jobs that I don't like.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I did it when I was younger, and I had to raise kids. I did all that, but now I don't have to. So I'm
mm-hmm.
gonna focus on if there's a client I fire clients or things. I mean, if I don't like somebody, they don't like me. That's fine. We're good.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have to. I don't have to work with you.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I'm very much like you. If someone calls, I'm like, I'll come out retire for that because I know it'll be fun and you're good to work with and you have a great
Mm-hmm.
demeanor and you pay on time. And all these things, all this stuff,
That's a that's what puts them at the top of the VIP
yeah,
list.
the checks go through. Okay, thank you. But you know what I mean? It's like all that does, but it's like, okay, I'll come work for you. There's a
Hmm.
few that was like, yeah. There's others I'm like, let me transfer you to someone else. I have other friends out here that are really good, and it's just not me anymore. There's certain
Yeah.
jobs I'm like, nah, that's not me. I mean, thank you for thinking
Hmm.
of me, but that's not me anymore. I'm
Hmm.
slowing down. I like this online life. I like teaching. I like speaking. I like
Hmm.
and Janet does it because so Janet has. I want that's a good way to segue into this because Janet, I ain't talked to her forever. We're already halfway into this. Halfway after I can talk to you forever because you're like me because you did diversify and you have your own podcast. So
Yes,
tell
I
folks
do.
the name of your podcast and let's about that.
So it's got clutter, get organized. And actually, one of my mentors let me know. She said, you need a podcast because people globally need to know about what you are doing. And this is a woman who at 78 wrote her first book, told me to do this. So,
You say your name. What's yours?
um, uh, Ann Strickland, and her podcast was Principles of Prosperity. She may
Okay.
have retired from that right now.
Okay.
But yeah, she just came up to me. She's like, "Look, you need your podcast. You need a podcast." And then that's how I got started. And I enjoy it because I get to interview some of the wonderful, like our colleagues, like Geraldine, or I did Tracy McCubbin, or some of the Black girls who organize.
Yes, I
you
love
know
that.
i
Yes. Okay.
I, so to me, and it's always interesting because I'm always learning something
Mhm.
from, it's like, okay, I got to take a note. I got to make notes about this. So, but yeah, I just love it. I truly,
Okay,
truly love
now
it.
I'm going to ask you because we joked about this before we came on, folks. This may look easy. It may look like you don't see. We're not letting you see a sweat, as the commercial is. We're not letting you see a sweat, but there's a lot going into it. So, how have you leaned into the podcast producing space?
Really better managing my time.
Okay,
Because before the pandemic, had a routine of the podcast, but then I really, like you said, wanted to lean in, which now I have to have a dedicated day because
good.
it takes a lot. I mean, yes, you do the interviews, wonderful, but then there's all the back end stuff that you have to do. Then of course you got to promote it. You got to make sure you first of all produce the show so it can go out there, and then you got to promote it. Then you gotta
Yes.
And then also, even before that, you got to think of like, okay, who's going to be my next guest? What's going to be my next focus? What questions am I going to ask? And I think a lot of times people think, oh, wow, podcasting is easy because you just you sit at home, you talk in a mic. No, there's lots of layers to podcasting and any type of broadcasting,
Yes.
even sometimes just doing a video, James.
No, I know. That's not that. No, no, I know exactly. It's something there too. And so you have the podcast. Also, go to your website. Sorry, I got this long hair in a ponytail today. 'Cause it's not working out for me. I wanted to have it curly for you, it's not working out today.
That's all
Um,
right.
you know how it is. The hair does what it wants. It does what it
That's true. That is so true.
wants. I love you have locks, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's why
They're
I
beautiful.
like this
They're
because,
beautiful. They're beautiful.
because I can just put it up, down, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can be ready for when you call and say, "Look, I want to interview you this week." I'm like, okay, I can do it because I got the hair to do it. Because them other days, those other days, it'd be like, oh, wait a minute, now we're
I'm
gonna be
all
on video.
where's the hat? I'm like, hi everybody, I'm here and I'm ready to talk. Yes, I know how it is, girl. I know how it is. but your locks are beautiful.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so you also so you have that, but you also you have a website, janetmtaylor.com. You can go there and you know what kind of stuff, but you have ebooks and books and talk about that.
So I do have a book, and it is 101 Secrets to Living a Organized Life. I am currently revising that because when I wrote that book, we were still using what is those floppy disk. So I figure it's time to upgrade and revise. So I'm in the
Yes.
process. Yes, but I do have a free ebook. It's the Clutter Free Zone. And that just kind of gives you some strategies on really how to organize all the areas of your life. So
Folks,
yes.
join the J list. I did this morning.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
James Lott Jr., so I got to join the J list. So when you go to her website,
That was
join
and
the
that you know, and that was a idea from my team. I love my team.
I love it. It's smart. I joined it. So this I'll be getting some emails. Also, you also were called the Clutter Free Queen by Rachel Ray. Talk about that. I don't even know
So
what's going on with that. We know who she is, of
So,
course.
that was in 2018, and I got an email. And sometimes you get those emails and you think it must be a spam.
Right.
But I made the call, and it was her production team. They wanted me to provide some tips on air, and it was going to be, I didn't realize, but it was going to be me and another organizer. And it were kind of like, we each had to give a tip. Then Peter Walsh was there,
You're
and
awesome.
he was going to actually decide which tip was the best. And, then I was crowned the clutter-free queen by
I
Peter
love the
Walsh.
crowd back there. I love
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I love
So
it.
yes, yes, yes.
What was that? What was that experience like going on TV, meeting Rachel Ray, meeting Peter Walsh, who's a leader in our industry, obviously.
It was so, and I tell people, I said, that's when organization pays, because it was a week of just going back and forth with emails. And they, no, we don't like this tip. This tip has been used. So on Friday, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock, Janet, we want to see you in New York on Wednesday for the taping. So as a woman, it's like, okay, I need to get the hair done. What am I gonna wear?
Yes,
I
true.
was nervous. Um, but it was a really great experience. And I had some person like, and they were just like, encourage me, James, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And so, and then of course, I won, but because of productions and scheduling, it's like, you can't tell anybody. I said, I can't
That's
tell
right. Oh
anybody.
yeah, that's right.
So, so I had to wait. Some people were a little like, you mean to tell me I met you yesterday and you didn't even I said, I couldn't say anything. I mean, they
Right.
give you so many documents to sign.
Yes, they
You,
do.
you
Yes,
like,
they do.
you don't know. So yeah, but it was a great experience. I mean, Peter Walsh is so down to earth, because we were all, I can't even believe I'm saying this. We were all in the makeup room, makeup chairs, and he turned around and he said, so are you ladies going to be on the show? And then we was like, yes. And he was like, oh, really? He was very friendly. And her team is just absolute. They make you feel so comfortable.
Oh, good.
So yeah, and it's interesting because I had the mindset that I had to come back and win, James, because the Eagles had already won some kind of
There you
championship.
go. Yes.
Villanova had already come with some kind of trophy. I'm like, look, I cannot come back to Philly without a win. So it happened.
I won't mention because the Eagles this year too are, doing so well. 49ers out here. So anyway, it's a whole nother story. We have football stuff. I love it. No, it's funny. No, it's funny because TV is a whole other animal, of course, right? It's a whole other animal, and
Hmm.
you can see all the behind the scenes stuff. And I was on Jimmy Kimmel last year, so I know 2 years. So I know that was a big thing. I was an organizer, I'm just saying that we need to there needs to be more of us. This is something I'm fighting for. Something I'm still fighting for out there, because this industry is still kind of not fully known though for people. They hear things, they think of Marie Kondo, they think of hoarders, almost extremes.
And
They
that's right.
Not everybody knows about the home edit. Not everybody knows. Some people know it. Not everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Some folks know Peter Walsh. Some folks, I mean, it's kind of like it's this weird, like it's an industry, folks. You can hire someone to help clean out something. It doesn't have to be
Hmm.
just your home. It could be digital stuff, could be pictures, could be, our industry's so vast, right? It's just so big and vast, right?
Yeah, and I try to tell people that I said there is probably an organizer who can do whatever you need.
Exactly.
Whether it's a garage, a kitchen, a closet, like you said, digital photos, kids.
Hmm. Yes, right. And so I look at, because you have this little empire, and I just wonder for you, because for me, I've just decided I'm just gonna stay in my lane, do what I gotta do, make connections, like I want to make connections, and hopefully have success along the way, but in my own world, so to speak too. It seems like you're kind of similar. You have your world, you have your
Mhm.
podcast, your videos, your posts, your website, your teachings, your speaking engagement. Is that kind of, I mean, or do you have huge aspirations or something else? I mean, what's going on for you these days?
I think, as I, get older, move towards retirement, I think I still want to continue to do the webinars and of course in person here and there. But I really enjoy doing the podcast because I get to reach a wider audience and I just get to bring on experts and we really get to talk about my passion, which is really living that organized life. Because when people think of organized life, sometimes they just, kind of compartmentalize it to the home, but it's a life. It's like managing your time, managing your energy. Yes, you want to be healthy and eat. Well, that means going in there and not only just organizing the kitchen, but also maybe organizing your time so you can like do some exercise. So that is what I really want to do. I won't be doing, as I get older, James, and stuff starts creaking and popping and
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh
this
yeah. Oh yeah.
I won't
Oh
be
yeah.
doing that much in person, but I still love connecting with people and just seeing them on that journey and seeing how happy they are and how less stressful they are when they do figure out a process and a routine to be more organized.
That's the thing I think people don't understand. For me, the most natural high is being with somebody who sees this. Either they have an aha moment
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of it, that's one of them, or when he starts seeing the progress.
Mm-hmm.
And you know
Mm-hmm.
this, some will start crying, some will get really quiet, some will get giggly, some will be,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I love that. This feels like, wow, I had a client recently who was like, I can see through the house now.
Mm-hmm.
I can look this way.
Mm-hmm.
We're done, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
like I can now. We did enough where he's like, now I can see from
Mm-hmm.
wall to wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because for the folks out there, it's that serious. There's some people, you have a lot of stuff. You can't see wall to wall. You just can't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, I remember one client, I was getting ready to leave and she just cried on my shoulders because she was getting ready to travel. But then she was in the midst because there was a deadline for this class action suit. And there was a lot of, in my mind, I saw how she needed to just kind of submit the information. But for her, it was a little overwhelming. It was a lot of receipts, a lot of details. And I says, look, I know you're traveling. If you feel comfortable, because it was dealing with a credit card company, I said, if you feel comfortable, which I think you do, just give me the stuff. I will go through. I will make a spreadsheet. She was like, what? I said, I'll make a spreadsheet, but I'll also add copies so they have a copy so they can see how much money did you need to be compensated in this class action? She was like, and she just like cried. She's like, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was trying to figure out what to do. I got to travel. I got to pack us. And so you're right. Sometimes it's just some of those little things. It's not anything major like, everything is organized. It's just like little pieces here and there. And it just makes them feel so much better.
and my fans and following know my book, which is out, which I'm writing a second one myself. Small steps lead to large rewards. That's my motto, and I always believe in that. Is that, how to eat an elephant a chunk at a time. It's always that was a joke or whatever. It's like you just kind of, what we're saying to you out there is that it's not about the big sweeping stuff that comes out later, and you see a big difference. But it's those big reveals you see on TV. But no, in real life, it's the small changes when you're able to open the door all the way. When you're able to park your car in the garage. I mean, like, it's like little things like that. You go, "What?" You think the little thing, like, but they are life changing things
Mm-hmm.
when you're able to find your files on your desktop. I mean, it's like those are things that are very important to help your life run. And Janet said it, and I will just mirror it. An organized life to me is the best life. I mean, actually,
It is.
organized life gives you freedom actually to
It
live.
does. It does. It really truly does. And a lot of times, just the process will make you aware sometimes because when you were talking, I remember a woman, she had two sons, and she said, I need you to come and organize them because if I do it, it'll be a lot of crying and screaming. So, once I started working with the younger brother, because the younger brother was getting so much stuff from his older brother, he didn't have capacity in his bedroom. But she was frustrated because the younger brother wasn't hanging stuff up in his closet. And I was able to have a conversation with her. I said, the reason he is not hanging stuff in his closet is because he doesn't have the proper hangers. And she just stopped. She was like, I was like, yeah. I said, he does not have, he need to get like at least a couple of sets of hangers for him. I said, because I see he knows what to do, but because he didn't have what he needed, it just kind of got overwhelming and stuff just wound up on the floor.
Mhm.
And she was like, wow.
Sometimes it is hanger, sometimes it's a bin, sometimes it's a drawer, sometimes
Or a hook.
a hook. Seriously, a basket, a tray. I mean, seriously, I have my little book where all my little goodies going every day, right on my
Hmm.
desk. Like sometimes it's something that small that can really change your life.
And that is true. That is true. I tell people it's amazing what a shoe rack by the door will do.
Mhm. Yep. No,
We
seriously.
all, yeah, because we take our shoes off. So put a rack right there. So then you're not complaining and tripping over the kids' shoes and everybody else's shoes.
And that's what, and that's exactly how I always feel about this stuff. Janet, the organizer, thank you so much for being on the show. You're welcome
It's
back anytime.
my pleasure. I had so much fun today.
And that's janetmtaylor.com. Make sure you go there. Follow her at Janet the Organizer on Instagram. She's also on Facebook. She's also on YouTube. She's on, I'll put all the links below. She's everywhere. Because like I said, she's like me, she's everywhere. That's what you're supposed to be these days, is everywhere. So you make sure you follow her. Again, join the J list when you know you want to. I just did. I get a free download. I think that's my emails came out. I get a free download. So I'm gonna download it and read it. Do that. So I always support. I'm here for support for you always. Everyone out there, seriously, getting organized is just the best thing on earth. There are organizers all over the world. There are
Mhm.
organizers all over the country. There's probably an organizer near you somewhere. So if you need any help, I always say napo.net is one place to go to. But if you just don't want to do all that, come to me. Come to me and I will get you. If you're in the Philly area and want to talk to her about speaking games or whatever, you're afraid to talk to yourself, I'll make the connection introduction. Again, you can come to me at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. The Super, I know it sounds dirty, but it's not. The Super O on Twitter. I couldn't wouldn't say organized. The SOS show on Facebook and Twitter. Follow us there. And I'm James Lott Jr. everywhere else in the universe. Everyone, have a good rest of your January. I'll see you back in February. Next week, I'm going to cruise. So I'm going on a cruise for 4 days just to kind of
Hey,
relax and recenter myself. And then I'll be back in a couple of weeks. And so I'll have another great guest on for that. But thank you so much, everybody. Take care.